Hello, cyberspace. It's me, Angie, and I welcome both you and your ears to an episode of Life, Love, Music, and Space Travel. In case you're wondering who Angie is, I'm Angie, and I'm super stoked to spend some time sharing with y'all some of my experiences and thoughts on living, loving, music, and space travel, or spiritual experiences as I often refer to as space travel. A rather broad spectrum, right? Well, my hope is to always share something that resonates with, intrigues, excites, or perhaps inspires you. On that note, I invite you to sit back, buckle up, and take a little trip out into the cosmos with me. Hello, cyberspace. It's me, Angie, coming to you with episode number 26 of my podcast, Life, Love, Music, and Space Travel. Hello. Hello to anyone and everyone out there who's listening. Whether it's tomorrow or next week or whenever you might be listening to this episode, thanks for joining me. At this moment, as I'm actually recording, it's about 11:53 p.m., almost midnight here on the East Coast. And I am finishing up my day. And it's kind of been a bit of a somber day. I have been kind of wondering what I was going to talk about, going over in my mind what I thought might be pertinent, what other people might want to hear about. And I've got a lot of stuff on my mind. But what's really been going through my mind this last week as I've sort of been prepping for the episode has been the idea of Uncharted Territory. I had a meeting with my therapist this past Monday, and he actually brought up the topic or the subject or the idea of my being or heading towards, probably both, being in and heading towards continued uncharted territory. And man, that is the truth. For those of you who have listened to me, you kind of know my story. For anyone who might be new and listening to me for the first time, just a brief synopsis is I've been in the state of North Carolina now for just a little over 8 months, having lived in Colorado for the last 27 years. Christmas Eve, I arrived here on my parents' doorstep. They did know I was coming, but I got here Christmas Eve after leaving Colorado. Divorce, house sale, left my home state of 27 years. I'm actually originally from upstate New York, but had been in the great state of Colorado, Eagle County in particular, for the last 27 years. And so I did not come to North Carolina necessarily willingly. As mentioned, divorce, house sale, sort of got pushed out by the ridiculous housing market, lost husband, fellowship, community, workplace, blah, 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 all of that stuff. Started a new life. Myself and my 2 furry babes got in the car, and we've now been here back on the East Coast for the last 8+ months. It is uncharted territory. Oh my goodness. This last week, actually the last couple weeks have been a little bit rough. I don't know that I have a label to put on exactly how I've been feeling, but there's a part of me that thinks, oh my gosh, I've been here 8 months already, and you should be over whatever it is that's keeping you down. You should be over it. You should get past it. You should be through it. All those shoulds. And I've been told over and over again not to should on myself. And yet I can do that. So I recently did start seeing a therapist to kind of help me navigate my way through this new life. I kind of put some pressure on myself to be Superwoman. But the truth is, I am in uncharted territory. I don't know how many times I'm going to use those 2 words, but it's really hitting home at the moment. In my meeting with the therapist, I had been mentioning some of the stuff I was going through, and I've been having some trouble this last few weeks, as I mentioned, because I still have quite a few loose ends going on with a divorce in particular. I don't know that there's been closure. Am I hanging on? I've been having dreams and this, that, and the other thing. I do believe it's related to some of these things that have yet to be finished. We still have we have a phone bill together, and I still have just some unfinished business. It feels as though it would be easier for me to move forward if some things were complete. I don't know. I'm kind of in this place where I feel like there should be a perfect way for this situation to play out. And I know that's the farthest thing from the truth. But my therapist dude, he mentioned to me how far I've actually come. So many things that I've completed getting here. And that once I close off some of these still open chapters, that I'll definitely be in uncharted territory. But the truth is, where I spent 18 years with somebody. That's a long time. I can minimize it at times, but that's a long fucking time, man, to spend with somebody. Whether things are good, bad, indifferent, it's a long time to be with the same person in a same household. And I'm not there anymore. So for goodness sake, here I am. Thank goodness for, the people that I'm with right now. Everything in my life has changed. I'm no longer in the same community. I no longer have the same job. I'm not seeing the same people around town at the grocery store. I'm not shopping at City Market anymore, or going into the post office and seeing all the familiar faces, the same people that I've seen. I mean, I lived in the Eagle Valley for 27 years, and I guess the reason that I'm really sharing this is to put out there, to get it out of my head. That's kind of my purpose for the podcast sometimes, selfishly, for me to have a place to just get it out of my head and put it somewhere out into the universe. Hopefully with the outcome that it will resonate with somebody else who is also going through a similar situation or has gone through it and knows what it's like to be doing this stuff. I've been to a local post office here, and it's not the same. I don't see my familiar faces. I'm not going to the same gas station or bumping into the people that I used to be tired of bumping into. It is not that way anymore. It's not the way it used to be. And part of me is really tired of the grieving process. And that's just a part of it. As I think about this idea of feeling a bit lost at sea, looking through my telescope or periscope or whatever it is they use on the boat, and looking for land. Man, I am so grateful to be here with my parents and my brother and the new place that I'm in, but I'm still holding on to these pieces of my past. And I don't know, maybe I will end up back in Colorado at some point, but it'll be different. So in the meantime, I'm working on continuing to move forward, and it's baby steps. On a lighter note, or I don't know if it's a lighter note, but this idea of living in a new environment. So I moved from the high Rocky Mountains to the lowland of the southern East Coast. And I had an experience this last few days with, I'm going to call it the water bug incident. Any of you out there know what a water bug is? I used to think it was just the nice name for a roach, but when I found one in my car, I really had to do some Googling and have come to find that it is not in the roach family. Thank goodness. It's bigger. It looks like a big roach, but Anyway, so I had what I called the water bug incident. There was one in my car and it freaked me out. Freaked me out. I'm not a big bug fan. What did we have in Colorado? We did have the deadly black widows and brown recluse, and I think they're here for sure as well. But we didn't have any creepy, crawly things that could sneak in your car and hide in places. And so anyway, adding to my finally settling in here in Colorado, I found the water bug, and so I could not drive my car anymore. It happened on Tuesday, actually, I think, or yeah, it might have been. No, it was Monday evening. And so Tuesday I went out and bought some gel bait and I proceeded to clean the car. I did a good scrubbing, good vacuuming, I should say first, but really finally unpacked after 8 months. Got all kinds of stuff out of my car, vacuumed the crevices, put down the gel bait, and cleaned, threw garbage away, brought stuff in the house that after fully inspecting and cleaning everything, I didn't bring anything in without cleaning it thoroughly, but made sure that the car was clean and did it all. And then today I set down the gel bait and finished it off today. And it was funny, just as I got to the back cleaning the last bit, there it was, dead in the back of the trunk. I find that interesting. I kept wondering, I was like, maybe it got out. So the water bug incident here, I suppose my outlook on that too is that the water bug has a purpose, and its purpose was to get me to clean my car. But turning it or tying it into Uncharted Territory, I'll just say that's a whole new thing for me. On top of being in a new place and a new space, now we get to deal with the new bugs in the, on the East Coast and this moist, wet environment here that seems to produce a lot of creepy crawlies. I don't like them, but they're a part of it. They're a part of it. Good golly. Here I am continuing to grow and change. It's been a full week, I guess. Tying things to change. I recently cut my hair. I've talked about that, grieving the loss of the old hair, cut off the dead ends, and really was enjoying it. But I just went back in for a second treatment and did a keratin treatment, which sort of just takes out the frizz. A couple of my favorite words begin with K, keratin and ketamine. If you haven't been listening, my ketamine is not party drug type. I've actually, it is my medicine in the form of a medicinal setting where I have embarked on the journey of ketamine infusions for depression, trauma, PTSD, that kind of stuff. You can check out my past episode, my Ketamine Chronicle, and hear a little bit more about that. But anyway, keratin is for straightening hair, or not straightening it, but defrizzing hair for the most part, cutting off dead ends and smoothing out the frizz. I think that's a good analogy for this new life I'm in the midst of as well. This life journey is not for the faint of heart. I want to send out all of my love to anyone and everyone out there on planet Earth. We all need it, for goodness sake. We all need it, as we need all the love we can get, that's for sure. This is a tough road, a beautiful journey, quite an adventure, but it is a fucking challenging ride, that's for sure. And I want to send my love in particular to the Eagle Valley, to souls transitioned in the last couple of days, one in a tragic accident and the other also in a tragic accident that was self-inflicted, unfortunately. And it brings to mind that we don't know how much time we have on the planet. And so I want to give a shout out to the snowboarding community who lost a pretty fantastic guy. My love to his family and all of his friends that are really mourning his early passing. And my heart goes out to also the other gentleman who decided to kind of vote himself off the island. There are a lot of people who are mourning the loss of him as well. loss seems like a strange word because we didn't lose them. It's not like we don't know where they are. No longer being here on this plane, one of them makes me think about my experiences I've mentioned with ketamine. I was in the darkest place in my life when I found it as a solution suggested to me by a very dear friend of mine, Alex Mintling, who has his own podcast called The Builder's Journey. And you can definitely hear about his experience in particular with ketamine and it being life-changing for him in regards to his struggle with PTSD, trauma, suicidal ideation, and such. And I mention that because he mentions it very freely on the podcast. So please listen to that. I myself had the darkest summer of my life last summer before leaving Colorado. I am a woman in recovery and thought I had all the tools I needed, only to find out that I was in the darkest space I'd ever been, doing everything correctly as I thought I should be doing it. But I needed some help, some outside help. And for me, this was a life-changing and life-saving addition to my life, and that was going to High Country Wellness and Infusion Clinic out of Frisco, Colorado, where with Mandy Glassmeyer, I believe is her name. Forgive me if I am saying your last name wrong, but she has a clinic, and I went in to begin my ketamine infusion treatment process, and as mentioned, life-changing and life-saving. If you're curious about it, please contact her. Do a little bit of Googling. It's well worth looking into. If you're giving up hope or finding that you need help, maybe this will be a solution. I am not an advocate as far as being a doctor, psychologist, nurse practitioner, or any of those things. I'm just a fucking bozo on the bus who found something that works for her. So that being said, I'm reminded once again of this journey that we're on and the choices that we get to make. I love David Bowie. Changes, turn and face the strange. Changes. For goodness sake, things do look strange. That is for sure. I ain't in Kansas anymore. Instead of succumbing to the deep despair, and no shit, I went through some deep despair and still have some pretty despairing moments. But I'm grateful to have made it through with a desire to continue to rise up and continue to walk toward this uncharted territory. My hope is the same for anyone out there, for all of us out there. Every day is a new day, and we don't know what's going to be presented to us, what our challenges are going to be, how we're going to get through them and continue to live this life. People with families and children, and it's no joke. So please reach out to your loved ones and remember that you're not alone. I'm at the goalpost. My therapist likes to use sports analogies and he's been saying, now I just have to kick for the field goal and tie up some of these loose ends. Oh my. I don't want to do the tough stuff, but I feel like what other choice do I have right now? The truth is I have a lot of choices. I'm going to continue to move forward today with the ones that provide me the greatest opportunity for growth. That's how I'm going to think about it for now anyway. I am going to jump into one of my favorite parts of the podcast. That's using the Poddex app. Travis Brown, he is the creator, or at least one of the creators. There's my giving a little shout out to Travis Brown from Poddex. Poddex, Poddecks, is an app that you can use, and you could also get hard copy decks of cards. They have all kinds of cool questions to inspire conversation, or for anyone who is doing a podcast and you need to interview somebody, they have all kinds of questions that you can ask people so there's no dead air or dead space, or if you just want to do a cool interview. I actually used them for my first interview so far, which was with the band Into the Fog. I have another episode on that. Anyone around here in North Carolina, or actually everywhere, because they are traveling around, heading down to or up to New York, if they're not there already, Into the Fog, Newgrass, Bluegrass, something in that genre of music, and they're fucking great. So anyway, my question, and it is out of the Icebreakers deck section, and I'm going to put this out to y'all as well. Feel free to answer it. Head to my website, www.lifelovemusicandspacetravel.com, and leave me a voice message or a review, or send a question or something like that, or an answer to this. What are some challenges, difficulties, and hardships you've overcome or are working to overcome? And the second question is, how can what you learned help others? But kind of the theme, or a large theme of my podcast in these last 26 episodes, has been a lot about overcoming. Even the music episodes that I've had generally have to do with music being a soul-saving part of this earthly experience for me, for sure. But some of the challenges, difficulties, and hardships that I've overcome or working to overcome. I mean, I've sort of said it all in this episode already. Leaving Colorado was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I did not want to leave for many reasons. I stayed in a marriage for a very long time that was not healthy for either of us. I was afraid of making changes. I was very afraid of making changes. And instead of doing something that possibly could have helped us long before the way it turned out, and it ended up the way it did, and deciding to file for divorce. My gosh, it makes me uncomfortable just to talk about it. I have no intention or desire to harm my ex. I love him. I do. I love him dearly. Making the decision to file for divorce was one of the most difficult decisions I've ever made. Everything that came with it was incredibly challenging, difficult. It was a hardship like I never expected to go through, to be a participant in, and yet I made it through it. And as a woman in recovery, I did not drink or use anything in the process. That's a fucking miracle. I do want to put that out there to anyone who is struggling with some hardships, whatever your challenge, difficulty, or hardship is. You too can get through it. I did not do it alone. I had to have a lot of help, support. I still do need all that help and support. I did do it, quote, alone at times, or so it felt. And, my faith came through at that point as well. I got a pretty big faith in the higher power, force, source, whatever it is, creator that is out there, he, she, it, whatever it is that is in my corner, and there's definitely something there. As I've mentioned, divorce, leaving my state, losing my jobs because of the move, changing environment, moving in with the parents at 51. I'm not a kid. And now here I am having to figure out how to take care of my car and my dogs and do all of this stuff on my own. I mean, as I've mentioned, I'm not on my own, but I don't have that person that I thought would be there. The person who did change the oil and helped me with the dogs and fixed certain things. So I have overcome some of those challenges, the fear of being alone, the fear of change, the fear of divorce, and I am still working to overcome the fact that I am divorced. I'm not married anymore. life is not the way I thought it would be, hoped it would be. It's also, it is kind of the way I feared it would be, but it's not as bad as I feared it would be if it turned out this way. And that's kind of the hope, I suppose, that comes through that. Leading into the next part of that question, how can what I learned help others? I have learned that I am stronger than I think I am. It's all the cliche stuff we hear. Believe that shit, man. I am more courageous than I think I am, more capable. I am worthy, for goodness sake. I am courageous. I'm only human. And so whatever you might be going through, I believe there is purpose in it. Not that things, people will say everything happens for a reason. I think that for me, that reason is, as it's happening, I get to grow through it. I don't always look pretty when I'm doing it. But I get to grow through the challenges. Lately, I've been on this kick. I have mentioned him so many times, Michael Singer. Yep, Michael Singer. I hope to meet you someday. He wrote The Untethered Soul, Living a Life of Surrender, I believe. There's a podcast where he does some of his talks, like hourly episodes, 40-minute episodes, something like that. But he's great. So much of what he talks about is the stuff that we shove down. I'm really paraphrasing, but the stuff that we shove down that stays within us. We store up this terrible energy, holding on to the bad energy, holding on to the good stuff, and blocking life as it is from coming up so that we can experience life as it is. I have really been embracing his teachings or his suggested ideas of how to live this life. I don't want to carry old stuff. Everywhere, a part of my growth has been, here I am in North Carolina, and my ex-husband drove a white Chevy van, like a lot of people do, especially anyone in the construction industry, a white Chevy van. Well, I see lots of white Chevy vans here in North Carolina. And when I first got here, I would look at all of them, and there was a part of me that thought maybe my ex would be in the front seat driving. I don't know what I was thinking, but I've come to find that's kind of part of the human condition. Left to my own unconscious defenses, I'll look for that. It's a part of me that's stuck inside of me, and I'll look at that white Chevy van and relive that old experience. And my desire is to, one of these days, not even notice the white Chevy van. Not because I want to forget my person at all, but because I don't want it to be this painful, weird reminder. I'm not sure that any of that makes sense, but you'd really have to listen to his stuff. And I highly suggest, at the very least, listening to, and I love Audible. I listen to a lot of books, so listen to The Untethered Soul. It's really, it is actually fantastic stuff. And I'm going to throw out there too, because I'm making suggestions. Glennon Doyle's Love Warrior was another great book that I recently listened to. Empowering, liberating, kind of just about being one's authentic self. Grabbing a hold of this earthly experience. It is short. So much shorter than I surely thought it would be. Time just seems to be marching forward as it does. And yet at the same time, when I can pull myself into the present moment and really be present in the midst of the good and the not so good, there's a lot of time in 24 hours. I want to make the most of all of it. Yeah. As far as that question or those questions go, I like to think that what I have learned or experienced is helping others. For anyone out there struggling with any sort of recovery stuff, I am somebody who can tell you I'm nothing special. I'm not unique, but you can make it through life without picking up your fix. You can. I'm still working on some of mine. Food is that's my latest big challenge. I've put down some other things, as I've mentioned, not having to do with recovery, but cut my hair. I'm kind of in a weird stage right now because I did have this keratin treatment, and I'm a curly hair girl whose hair right now is pin straight. It is pencil straight, or whatever you want to call it. And I can't get it wet for 3 days. And I'm curious as to what it's going to look like on Saturday when I go back to work. But you can make it through life's challenges without having to turn to your old fixes. And so I suggest feeling as much as you can. And if you got to go to sleep early, go to sleep early. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and switch to my second question because I do love pod decks. This ties right in with what I'm doing right now. The second question, and these are out of the Icebreakers deck. What's something you do even if you never made any money? What's something you do even if you never made any money? Think about that. Well, I can tell you something I would do if I never made any money is podcast. I am sure shit not making any money. It's not my goal. I will say I would love it if I could find a way to work some concert tickets or some flight tickets or some hotel stays. I would love it if somehow there was a way to monetize. And I know that there is, but I really enjoy talking to cyberspace. I do know that there are people out there listening. I like to think that I'm sharing my experience with somebody. And so I feel like I would definitely continue. I will do this. I will definitely continue to do this, whether I make money or not. Yeah, I will surely keep podcasting. I know that kind of is bringing me to the end of tonight's episode. I do have next week an appointment. I'm taking a little bit of space travel next week. The space travel component of the podcast is largely connected to spiritual experience stuff, and I've connected it with my ketamine infusions. It's been a couple months. It's been almost 2 months, and for me, it really has been a life-changing medicine. It's interesting as I've come to understand the way ketamine works on the brain is that it allows for new neural pathways to be created, which is life-changing in reaction to things, and allows our brains to work using other solutions rather than the carved neural pathways we have that tend to put us into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode. For me, the ketamine is good for the neural pathways. And I'll also say my other word, keratin, is good for keeping the frizz out. It fills my hair follicles with keratin and seals them. You're probably like, what the hell is she talking about? But those are two important things in my life. This hair thing. I'm going through changes. I am not the same person I was 8 months ago. I am so aware of that. It'll be interesting to go back to Colorado as this person that I am today, but I needed to come here to North Carolina for sure. I needed to keep moving forward. I hope for all of you out there who are struggling with something, are experiencing a difficult situation. Maybe you're not upset about it. Maybe it's a new job. Maybe you're excited about it, because I do know that there is a time, there's a time that I appoint when I reached a place where I've been able to embrace the excitement of new things. Sometimes I'm still in the midst of grieving, but I'm like, holy cow, this is my life right now. I am a single 51-year-old gal who's went from living in the mountains to living down at the beach. And I don't want to fight it. I don't want to be upset anymore about life not being the way I want it to be. The person in front of me is driving too slow. Well, who cares? What am I in such a hurry for? That's a straight up Michael Singer tool. You start with the low hanging fruit. You want life to change immediately? Start right there. Start being okay with the person in front of you driving 2 miles an hour instead of 50 or 20, whatever it is. The weather, it has been hot here, and I've started to be okay with that. I don't want to fight the way life is. It is the way it is. And I can let go of wanting it to be the way I want it to be. And that is not easy. And I say that especially with the understanding of today in particular. People are dealing with great loss. Life all of a sudden happening in a manner that they never expected, having to deal with incredibly tragic situations. My own family, my dear cousins and my aunt went through a very tragic loss. And I've been watching them flourish, I guess, albeit from afar. They have pulled together and are still moving forward and creating stuff, and they are inspiring me. So I'm very grateful for my cousin Jacques and my cousin Terrence and my Aunt Sarah. Their beautiful family. I'm inspired by many people who continue to walk this earthly experience, and my heart goes out to those who choose another option. Closing out, I'm just going to finish it off with, please, if you are feeling suicidal, if you're thinking about it, that stuff is not out of the norm. Plenty of people are thinking about it, are contemplating it. Just remember that there are people out there who would love to talk to you, who would love to provide you with options, perhaps some solutions to your situation. Call the suicide hotline. Please call your local crisis line. I will include a fair amount of information in my show notes. If you're not familiar with who to reach out to, definitely Google your local crisis hotline. Somebody, all of that information will be in my show notes, as well as giving some props to the Future Psych Ketamine Clinic in Myrtle Beach, which is where I'll be heading next Wednesday. And I'm looking forward to seeing my nurse practitioner, Angel. Then once again, just giving a shout out to Mandy at the High Country Wellness and Infusion Clinic in Frisco, Colorado. And she also offers different kinds of hydration infusions, which are great. I had another additional infusion, but you can find that all on her website. I kind of think that's what I've got for now. I really do appreciate everyone out there listening to me do a bit of jabber-jawing. I do feel better for putting some of my stuff out there and getting to share myself with y'all. Remember, you're not alone. Please reach out. There's somebody there willing to take your hand, offer you their hand, and that's what makes life pretty beautiful. Ooh, just on a last note, my dad and I we binged the Netflix series Messiah. It was very, very good. I enjoyed it. I love the idea of theology. I do. I read a great book called Beautiful Outlaw, and it was about Jesus as his life here on earth and what a badass Jesus was, as was talked about him as a human, a man here on earth. And I don't know what to think about. I'm not a religious person in any way, shape, or form. I would call myself spiritual, but I enjoyed Messiah. So if you get a chance I won't talk about too much about it. You'll see it was just one season, 10 episodes. You can easily binge it in a day if you feel like it. But anyone who's curious and kind of the idea of somebody coming down to offer some assistance, or maybe if that's, I don't know. I'll let you keep an open mind about it and perhaps watch it. Thanks for listening. I'll be back again in about a week. All right. Nighty night. Bye. So we've reached the end of today's episode. Thanks so very much for listening. It's now time to reconnect to planet Earth and all that comes with living on the blue ball. I'd love to hear your ideas for future episode topics, along with any and all positive and/or constructive feedback. Please feel free to contact me at ashysbadass@gmail.com. Thanks again for spending some time with me and allowing me to share myself with you. Until next time, please be gentle with yourselves, be kind to animals, and do all you can to allow your authentic selves to shine brightly.